How many games would a New Orleans Saints win in 2024? What's going on, Saints fans? There's your boy Mayon Jones here, back with another NFL record prediction. And this time, we'll be doing our NFL record prediction for the New Orleans Saints in 2024. Give you my record predictions and my game analysis, which games I think the Saints will win and which games that I think the Saints are going to lose. So the question is, can the Saints turn around? Could they at least get back in the playoffs? We're going to have to find out. So put the thumbs up to like the video, subscribe to my channel for more options to look at all the videos on the playlist. And you get to comment down in your opinion below to see how good you think the Saints will be. Do you think this is a year they get back in the playoffs, or you think they miss out on the playoffs? Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. Okay, so week 1, they opened up. It's the home opener they got to play, which is against against the Carolina Panthers. Obviously, they should beat the Panthers at home. So I give the Saints a win here because it's in home. It's the Superdome, which is kind of a tough place to play at, where the crowd, I think, is going to be loud. And on top of that, the Panthers are going to be dealing with some learning curves because they have a new head coach. Plus, they got a new offensive line, an improved one. They got new receivers, which their receiving core did improve by adding Leggett and Deontay Johnson to go along with Adam Thielen. So, yeah, they still got the same quarterback. So, yeah, but it's a new culture in Carolina. And I think the Saints defense, their offensive line is really I think the Saints defense can match up well with the Panthers because they have the pass rush and the defense to like get after Bryce Young. Especially Bryce Young is not good against pressure. He's bad against He's bad against pressure and with the different blitz styles. And their secondary is pretty strong. Which I think they got a good corner duo with Lattimore and Kool-Aid McKinstry now. And Matthew, which I think they can man up against the Panthers receiving core. And I think the Saints, I feel like Dennis Allen does a really good job at blitzing and does a really good job defending young quarterbacks. So, yeah, I mean, the Panthers' defense isn't great, so I think the Saints can move the ball on them. They can throw at them. So, I think Carr should be very comfortable. So, yeah, I like the Saints here to win that game at home. Week 2 against the Dallas Cowboys. I got the Cowboys winning that game because the game's in Dallas. Dallas kind of a tough place to play at because they're a very good underrated stadium. They're the better team overall, better quarterback, better coaching. And I think they got the better defense in my opinion. The Saints defense is good, but it's kind of not great. But I feel like Dallas, it can match up with the Saints really good. They have a really good pass rush. Like their defensive line, is really good, but I think the Saints can run them a little bit because the Cowboys, are kind of bad against the run. So I think Dallas's, defense can get pressure on Derek Carr. I think they have corners to man against the Saints receivers. They have the path. So yeah, and I don't think the Saints O-line can block really good because the Cowboys pass rush is really good, and I think it's going to be a handful. And the Cowboys do have an improved new offensive line. So yeah, and I just think that Dallas have weapons on offense that can really attack the Saints. Like CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, Jake Ferguson could be a problem, but they may not have a run game like they used to, despite them bringing back Ezekiel Elliott. So yeah, So I think this game is going to be closer than we expected, but I expected to get a little bit ugly. But I think Dallas can find a way to pull this one off. Next game, week 3 against the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a game I think the Eagles can win. I mean, the Saints can win because it's at home in the Superdome. And, the Eagles do have a really good talented roster. Um, my one issue about the Eagles is, their pass defense. Like, they cannot stop the pass that good. Maybe there's a chance I think New Orleans can throw on them a little bit. But, I feel like this game will be close and competitive, but I wouldn't rule out the Saints winning, but I'm going with the Eagles here because I think the Eagles are just a more complete team, better quarterback, better coaching staff. And I just think, the Eagles, have a better old line, which I think they can block the Saints. And, they got some weapons on offense that can really attack the Saints and give the Saints secondary problems like AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert. They also got Saquon in the backfield now. So I think the Eagles can run the ball on him a little bit, and Jalen Hurts can run all over him as well because he's an animal. Um, the defensive line for Philly is really strong. They can stop the run really good. I don't think the Saints will run the ball effectively. So yeah, but the Eagles do have some corners in the secondary that can really man up against the Saints receivers. So yeah, I think it's probably gonna be a little bit of a defensive game. So, I think the Eagles will win this game because, Dennis Allen, the Saints, like I said, they always struggle against quarterbacks who can move. And Dennis Allen doesn't do a good job doing that. So, yeah, especially Vic Fangio can put up a good game plan against Derek Carr. Like, because I think I kind of remember back in the past, when Derek Carr was a Raider, he definitely, because he definitely played really well against Vic Fangio's defense in the past, and then Vic Fangio really found a way to like at least give Derek Carr a tough time. So I like the Saints. I like the Eagles to win this game in New Orleans. Next game, week 4 against the Atlanta Falcons. They also play the Falcons in week 10. I'm gonna split, so I'm gonna say the Falcons, beat the Saints at home, and I am going to say, the Saints beat the Falcons at home. Um, the Falcons, they're at home in this game, and Atlanta, I think, is going to be a good team this year. I think Kirk Cousins is a better quarterback than Derek Carr, in my opinion, because I think Kirk Cousins is a little more consistent. And the Falcons do got some good weapons on offense that can give the Saints defense problems, like Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Darnell Mooney. They got Bijan Robinson in the backfield. I think they can run them a little bit, but their defense isn't as good as the Saints. But I think the Falcons can control this game, and this game can control the game and their building. So I like Atlanta at home. The Saints at home, I think they'll split because I think the Saints, they got some good. I think the Saints, typically split, and they're both familiar with each other. So I think the Saints will beat them in one game. Then against the Chiefs on a Monday in Arrowhead Stadium, I think the Chiefs will win this game because the Chiefs, are at home. They got the better quarterback, better coaching. Um, they're at home, and especially, they got the better defense. Instead, and Spags, back in the past, he really done a good job, confusing Derek Carr. And I feel like he can do it again. The Chiefs, I don't think the Saints can run the ball on the Chiefs a little bit because I think the Chiefs' defensive line is very strong. And I think it will be a handful for that Saints old line. Because I don't think the Saints can match up well with the Chiefs on paper. So, yeah, and especially, the Chiefs' secondary does a good job stopping the pass a little bit, but they may not be able to play as much man covers like they used to. So yeah, and the Chiefs do got some weapons on offense like that can really give the Saints defense problems. Like you know they got Isaiah Pacheco in the backfield, which I think they can run the ball on him a little bit. Mahomes, he's he's a baller. He can make some magic happen, and especially they got weapons on offense. Like Xavier Worthy, Travis Kelsey, Hollywood Brown, Rice if he's playing. So yeah, I think the Chiefs, can win that game for sure at home in their building. All right, next game, Week 6 against against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Saints should win this game at home. Better. I feel like the Saints, are a better version of the Bucks. They pretty much own the Bucks. I think they'll beat them once this year. Because I remember, and then I think in the last game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I think the Bucks will win the second game. Because I feel like both of these two teams are very even to each other. The Bucks have pretty much owned the Saints, for a couple of years. But I can't remember. The Saints did beat them in Tampa Bay. Then Tampa Bay beat them in New Orleans last year. So basically, I think they typically split. I think Tampa Bay is a better team, in my opinion, than the Saints. But I say the Bucks were gonna at least beat them once this year because I think the quarterbacks are even, the coaches are even, the rosters are pretty much even. So yeah, so I think they'll both split with each other. Then Week 7 against the Denver Broncos. This is on a Thursday night on a short week. This could be the Sean Payton revenge game because I believe Sean Payton's a better coach than Dennis Allen. But the game was in Denver. I might lean towards the Broncos. But given that the game's in New Orleans, I'm going to take the Saints to win this game. And the reason why I'm taking the Saints to win this game, because the Saints are at home in this game. The Saints have a better quarterback. And I think they're just a better team overall. Like the Broncos, are kind of in a rebuilding mode because we don't know who's playing quarterback for the Broncos. Is it going to be Russ? Is it going to be Zach Wilson? Is it going to be rookie Bo Nix or Jarrett Stidham? If it's a rookie, I wouldn't trust him on the road, especially in New Orleans with a proven quarterback, and especially against the Saints defense that is pretty much good. So I think that's pretty much why I think New Orleans is going to win that game. Week 8 against the Los Angeles Chargers. This is definitely a game that can go either way. I could see New Orleans win this game, but I'm going to lean towards the Chargers to win this game because I think the Chargers have a better coach, a better quarterback. They're at home, and it's rare to say the Saints do have more weapons than the Chargers do, but the Chargers don't really have a good offensive line. They have a great offensive line. Their defense is pretty good, especially their pass rush is really good. Their secondary is really good. I think their secondary can do enough to at least slow down the Saints receivers. And I think their pass rush can do enough to get after Derek Carr. I mean, the Chargers defense have in the past have played really well against Derek Carr in the past, and they figure out how to get after him. I think they can do that. So yeah, I don't think the Saints is a bad matchup for the Saints, and I don't think their O-line is going to block the Chargers' pass rush. So, yeah. So, I think the Chargers will win that game. Week 9 against the Carolina Panthers. I'm going to say they split, and I'm going to say the Panthers win the second game because I just have a feeling the Panthers, I feel like Bryce Young's going to have a good game. I feel like the O-line will do enough to protect him, and I think, the receivers are going to do a good job separating in this game. So, yeah. So, I think the Panthers, is going to win at home just because I feel like the Panthers normally split like they used to. But I believe last year the Saints swept them, but I feel like Carolina, this is a year Carolina is going to beat them once. Okay, then next game against the Cleveland Browns, and then they get the bye week against the Rams. So basically, the Browns game can go either way. I could see the Saints win this game at home because the Browns defense is really not good on the road. But I'm going to take Cleveland to win because I just think, it's a bad match for the Saints. I don't think the Saints O-line is going to be able to block the Browns because their pass rush is vicious and their defense under Jim Schwartz is really good. I feel like Jim Schwartz is going to have a good game plan against the Saints offense. He'll figure out to get after. He will blitz Derek Carr. He'll get after Derek Carr. And their secondary is pretty strong, which they do have, the corners to man up against the Saints receivers. And, they have a better offensive line, which I think they'll block the Saints. And they got some good receivers that can really attack the Saints, like Amari Cooper, David Njoku, Jerry Judy, Elijah Moore, Nick Chubb in the backfield. Like, they got plenty of weapons that can give the Saints defense problems. But I wouldn't rule out the Saints winning, but I have a feeling the Browns are going to win because the Browns are just a better team overall, and they got the better coaching staff. But I feel like because I feel like, even though Deshaun Watson stinks, and Derek Carr stinks too, so even though Deshaun Watson stinks, I think the Browns defense can do enough to at least win. The defense can do enough to win them this game because I have a feeling that Derek Carr is probably not going to be good enough to get this done on offense. So that's why I think the Browns are going to win. I know it's in New Orleans, but Cleveland's just the overall better team and just a better coaching staff and have a better roster. Then it get to bye week 12. Then after week 12, they got to play against the LA Rams. This is a game that can go either way. I could see the Rams, winning this game because the Rams have a better quarterback. They got better coaching, and they're. I think they're a better team than the Saints, in my opinion. But I'm gonna go with the upset. I'm gonna take the Saints to win this game in New Orleans because the because they're coming off a bye, and I just have a feeling the Saints, kind of have a better defense than the Rams. I don't think the Rams defense. I feel like it's average, but they got some young players who can play at a high level. So the Rams, the Saints offense, they don't have Aaron Donald no more. So Rams don't have Aaron Donald no more. So I think the Saints, offense, I feel like Derek Carr can have a little bit enough time, to make some plays, especially against a Rams secondary that's definitely improved this offseason. I think the Saints receivers will win their one-on-one matches against the Rams secondary. And their defensive line can do enough to at least get after Matthew Stafford and all that. And their secondary can find a way to man up against the Rams receivers. So yeah, I mean the Rams receivers, they can really attack the Saints. I think they can do that because I believe last year, when the games in LA, the Rams won that game. But if it was in LA, I can pick the Rams. But given the game's New Orleans, I think the Saints find a way to win that game. So yeah, week 14 against the Giants. I am going to give. This is a tricky one, but I'm going to say the Giants are going to upset the Saints because even though I think the Saints are a better team, and have a better quarterback, I think the Giants are going to win this game because I just like their coach more. I just like their coaching more than I like the Saints coaching. And I just think, the Giants, defense is going to win them this game. Now they got to improve pass rush, which I think they can get after Derek Carr and make him uncomfortable in the pocket. So yeah, I think their defense will win them this game. And I think Daniel Jones, he's pretty good at, running and all that. I think the Giants can run the ball with Daniel Jones, but they may not have a good running game. But I don't know if they're gonna be able to throw the ball a little bit, but I think, it's gonna be a defensive game. So I like the Giants to win at home here. Then week 15 against the Washington Commanders, I'm gonna say the Saints are gonna win this game because the Saints are at home in this game. They got the better quarterback. They're at home. I think they're a better team overall, and I just think Washington, is going to be dealing with learning curves because they have a new head coach. And Dan Quinn, they got a new quarterback in Jaden Daniels, which I don't trust him on the road, especially against a Saints defense on the road in New Orleans. Especially, I think the Saints do match it well with Washington. They have the corners to man against the Commanders receivers. They have the passers to get after Jaden Daniels. And Washington's O-line is not great, but Washington's defensive line is kind of great, but their secondary is not good. But I think Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed can be too much. I feel like Derek Carr can have enough time, to at least make some big-time throws against that secondary of Washington that's not good. So, yeah, I think the Saints win that game. Week 16 against the Green Bay Packers, I got the Packers win this game. Packers are at home. They're a better team, better coaching. So yeah, and I think Jordan Love is kind of a better quarterback than Derek Carr, in my opinion. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much why. I mean, this game's in New Orleans. I could take New Orleans, but the game's in Green Bay and Lambeau is a tough place to play at and all that. Green Bay is pretty much going to be a good team. Um, they got some young receivers, weapons on offense that are really good. They got a good running back in Josh Jacobs, which I think Green Bay can run the ball on them a little bit. Their offensive line is pretty good. Their defense is pretty solid, which I think they can stop the run really good. They can stop the pass. Like they can at least like find a way to like contain the Saints receivers with their secondary, and the Green Bay can throw on them as well, which I think Jordan Love can have a good have is gonna can have a lot of time because I think I remember last year, um, the Packers did come back on them because they were down by a lot of points, and they definitely did come back on them because the Saints did play them really close in that game. So I feel like it can be interesting. So I think Green Bay will win that game. Then Week 17 against the Las Vegas Raiders. This is the Derek Carr revenge game. So I'm gonna say the Saints are gonna win this game for Derek Carr to get his revenge on the Raiders because this is gonna be an emotional game, and I think the Saints are overall got the better quarterback. They're at home. They got better coaching, and I just think they're a better team. And on top of that, I just have a feeling that the Raiders did make improvements, especially on the defensive line. Their defensive line is really strong, but their secondary is not good. Their old line is pretty good. They have a good run game. They got good weapons on offense that can really attack them, like Jacoby Myers, Devontae Adams, Brock Bowers, like those guys. But I think the question is I don't know who the quarterback for the Raiders is going to be. Is it going to be Gardner Minshew or is it going to be Aiden O'Connell? But if it's Aiden O'Connell, I wouldn't trust a young quarterback on the road against in New Orleans, especially against a proven quarterback in Derek Carr. So yeah, that's why I think the Saints will win. So ultimately, I have the Saints going 7-10. I know that's bold. I know that's kind of bold for them, but when you look at the Saints schedule, it's pretty tough because they have to play like a lot of good playoff teams. Like the first part of the season, they have to play teams who made the playoffs. Like they have to play like the Cowboys, the Eagles, and the Chiefs. They got to play the Bucks twice. They play the Falcons twice, but I think it's going to be a good team. Um, they play the Browns, the Rams, the Packers. Like this is a hard schedule. Like I feel like the Saints can go somewhere from like 6 to 8 wins this year. I'm gonna go with like 7 wins because I think the Saints, just need to start over. Like I feel like I feel like the Saints are gonna take another step back this year. Like the Saints, I feel like Derek Carr, is getting older and he's a little bit overrated. I feel like their defense is kind of aging, like Cameron Jordan, Tyrann Mathieu, Demario Davis, but they got some young pieces there who are really good. Like I like the Chase Young and Willie Gay move. And I like McKinstry coming out of the draft. The offensive line is aging. I mean, Ryan Ramczyk is aging. The receiving core is pretty good. Kamara could be aging. So they got a lot of players in New Orleans who are aging. And I don't like Dennis Allen as a coach. I feel like Dennis Allen's probably gonna get fired, which I wouldn't be surprised if he got fired by week 7, like early in the season, or maybe by week 8, or maybe before the end of the season where it gets late. I wouldn't be shocked if he did, but yeah, I feel like the Saints defense has regressed a little bit. So I feel like the Saints need to start over and push that reset button because I think the Saints, just need to start over. Like I feel like I feel like it's time to move on. I feel like they need a new quarterback. They need a new coach that's gonna like suit this team. And I feel like the Saints. I feel like the Saints can at least win like 9, 10, or 11 games if everything goes right. But you know everything was going wrong for by the Sean Payton era, and now it's Dennis Allen. But But I feel like it's time to move on from Dennis Allen and get a new coach. And I feel like it's time to move on from Derek Carr and get a new quarterback. I mean, they drafted Spencer Rattler in the mid rounds, which I don't know he's going to be the future of this team. We'll have to find out. So, yeah. So, 7-10 sounds about right for the Saints, but I hope they prove me wrong, but that's all I have for right now. I just have them like third in the division because I just had a feeling that the Falcons and the Bucs are just a lot better than the Saints. So yeah, this could be a rebuilding season for them. But so yeah, but so 7-10 is my prediction for the Saints. You guys may disagree with me, but that's what I think. So let me know in the comments section below what you guys think about the Saints. This is Emmanuel Jones, big fan. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys later in the next video. Peace.